Hey, everybody, and welcome to a major rock star episode of Wild Ride with Steve-O. Man, this is exciting, dude. Slipknot, one of the biggest metal acts on the planet ever. And they've just been going stronger and stronger, like for what, over 20 years? Dude, man, get ready, because this is rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Taylor. Yeah, dude. So, I would like you to meet my co-host, Scott Randolph.
Hey, Corey.
Hello, dude. How are you?
Good to see you.
And up at the front of the van, we've got the gorgeous Paul Brisky.
Hey, Corey, how are you?
I agree with the gorgeous. Nice, man.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
thank you.
keep him in the van, dude. That's fucked up.
And his voice. Oh, my God.
Deep voice, big balls. Hey, come on.
Yeah, there you there you
But
go.
it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, fuck, dude. I gotta plead ignorance, man. I wasn't ready for when you were on the Burt cast. Like, that you've got the biggest numbers the Burt cast ever had. Burt, of course, being Burt Kreischer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Burt. And Bert's got the biggest numbers we've ever done on this podcast. I mean, hey.
The ripple effect of Bert.
All right, and I was with them just earlier today. I co-hosted Two Bears in One Cave.
Oh shit, I love that show too, man. Like
big one.
I'm a big podcast guy, so I love all that shit.
Well, fucking right on, man. And
Yeah.
thanks for doing this. It's great to have you. First question is, fucking how old are you, dude? You look like you're fucking early 20s.
I don't know how much money I owe you for that, but that's fucking rad, man. I'm 47.
Holy shit, dude. I'm 46.
46.
And I was thinking too, because I watched a number of YouTube videos to prepare for this, I was just struck thinking, man, like, is this like an old ass video because he looks so young? And then here you are, fucking
Yeah.
killer. Not like the hat isn't like a disguised hair loss or anything. No. Fucking-
Hang on, man. Honestly, I'm wearing the hat because it's like bedhead day. You know how it is. It's like
Sure.
the quarantine brought out all the laundry looks. You know, it's pretty funny.
Well, I get it, man. And then, like, I'm sure that with the questions and the masks and Slipknot and none of the masks is probably fucking, ad nauseum tiresome. But I just think a little bit of a pisser to wear a mask when you're so goddamn good looking. Right?
You know, the funny thing is, in 2004, I was voted hottest dude in heavy metal in the mask, which I don't know. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I've always held on to that. It's like I was number 4, in the mask, and I've never charted without it. So there you go.
Were they clear in making the distinction that it was with the mask on, or did they
Oh
just...
yeah. No, it was a picture of me in the mask. They didn't include any of my mask shots.
Has there ever been...
I keep
like a
telling my
backhanded
wife, I'm like,
compliment.
look, I'm way hotter in a mask. I promise. I swear to God, man.
I don't know that I agree with that. Have you always been, or have you ever been, like, really guarded, protected about what your true identity is? Like, like you won't appear without the mask, or...
No, I mean, we were in the beginning. In the beginning, it was cool that nobody really knew who we were, and the reason that we wore the masks wasn't for anonymity or anything really like that. It was all part of this artistic vision that we had, and part of it was the shock value, but at the same time, it lent itself to the artistic stylings that we were trying to kind of go for. Like, it was almost like a uniform. Like we were the anti-image, like at the time, everybody was so shiny and pretty and everybody had their fashion and whatnot. And here we were, 9 dicks from Iowa. And we were like, you know what? You don't get our cheekbones or our hairstyle. Here's our mask. You don't get our fashion. Here's our coveralls. You don't get our name. Here's our name, our number. Here's our barcode. It was basically almost like an anti-establishment thing.
Well, I
we
think
really
that-
stuck with.
Yeah, and by anti-establishment, you mean specifically anti-industry, right? Like,
Yeah,
you guys...
very much so. Yeah.
You guys operated within the music industry and vocally and, like, energetically opposing the very industry you were in.
Right. Yeah, we tried to eat it, and we actually actually threw it back up. So I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but there you have it.
Right. I was trying to figure it out. Like, how many fucking masks have there been? Because you change your mask. Is it every album is a different mask?
I change my mask every album. Yeah. Some guys like what they wear, so they change it like subtly.
Right. Like
I
clown.
like to evolve mine. Yeah. Clowns. Well, clowns is, I mean, he's still the clown, but his changes every album. Like it's
Sure.
still a clown mask,
Of
but it's
course.
totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, the
But-
first one was very like almost happy clown, and then the second
Yeah.
one was dark as fuck with the pentagram and shit.
Right. The cool thing about the original clown mask was that was his original mask from when he was, I want to say like 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
just happened. Yeah. So he keeps that one protected. He still has it. And every once in a while he'll bring it out just to like fuck with us, to be honest. And it's just like, oh God, you know.
That's
But-
great, man. That's like my cheetah. There's only ever been one cheetah print bikini.
Right?
I-
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's got that one thing that like that's the original, and that's, you know, you can have, you know, imitations or whatever, but it's not the same, man. Like you carry it through the years.
So what was he doing with that mask when he was 12? Was it like for Halloween, or he was just like,
He
I'm
was
gonna
freaking people out with it. You
Yeah.
know, he was running around the neighborhood, dude. He was a maniac. Like the reason, and this actually predates me being in the band, the reason that they started wearing masks in the first place is because he started wearing his mask at practice, man. Like they would be in the basement, like they weren't even in front of anybody, man. He would put that on, and it would just bring a different type of energy out of his playing and what he was doing. So slowly but surely, everybody in the band started bringing their own masks to practice. Like they didn't even debut this look until after they had really kind of consolidated it. And then when I joined, they actually helped me kind of put together my first mask. And it was crazy, man. It was a really cool vibe. You know, it just allows you to just go somewhere really gnarly and yet still be connected with the audience and connected with the music. But he's just, yeah, he's just different cat, man.
Yeah, I mean, when you put the mask on, are you Corey Taylor or are you just somebody else completely on stage?
It's a little bit of it's a little bit of certain aspects of me, you know, because I mean nobody is one-sided, you know. Everybody's very multi-layered. We all have like different dimensions to us, and that mask and that music represents a certain side of me, certain events in my life, certain things that I've gone through, certain things that I fight to this day, you know. And when I take it off, I can kind of come back and be a well-rounded Corey, as opposed to just this, you know, nightmarish guy. But it's definitely a part of me. It's not all who I am, but it's definitely a part of who I am, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting. When people say, you know, they have a really good personality, or this person, the root word of personality is persona, and persona
Right.
comes from the Greek mask. So when somebody has a good personality, I just feel like it's a good mask that they're wearing for that time, and it's not really who they are. You know, if somebody's real charismatic, it's probably they're hiding something.
Wow, fucking Scott Randolph coming in deep.
What happened?
Super
I just
deep.
blacked out, dude.
Now, before you joined Slipknot, I found this particularly fucking fascinating that so it was the first incarnation of Slipknot, without having a record deal, went into the studio to record a demo, and
Right.
that demo, like they spent $40,000 to make a demo, not even an album, and like it just seems like it speaks to like how much the landscape of music has changed, where now all it takes is like a fucking iPhone, you know, like
Oh yeah, couple plugins. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like,
right.
But that was different times, man. I mean, when we started, Pro Tools was still like this thing that nobody could really understand. You know, our first my first three albums were all done on 2-inch tape, man. So it took
Yeah.
forever. So you had to, like, if you were an engineer or a producer, you had to know your way around these technologies. Now, any dick with a Pro Tools rig can call himself a producer, you know, like
Right.
you got the right plugins you can create something that either sounds exactly like everything else that's on the radio or masks all the hidden deficiencies.
All
And
right.
that's
So,
me being very political right now.
so do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing? That it's like equal opportunity for everybody to express their musical, fucking art? Or do you think, fuck, man, all these shitheads coming in that shouldn't be making music?
Well, I have various
Depends on
opinions
what day
about.
you ask them.
No, I'm pretty consistent with. I, on the one hand, I love how fast the technology is because it means people like myself who like to work fast, we can get a lot of good shit done quick. We don't waste our time trying to figure out a way to kind of trick the technology to do more than it's actually doing. So it allows people like me, people like who are in my position, to be able to work quick, especially when it comes to demos. Demos used to take forever, and now I can go in and I can track 6 songs in a day, and get it done because the technology can keep up with my brain. Now, the flip side of that is that there's 2 sides to the coin. One, it means that everyone can sound good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are good. That makes sense?
Sure.
Like you can it's the old adage, you can polish a turd, it's still a piece of shit, Like for me, evening the playing field has made it harder for lazy people to discern what is good and what is bad, because the crowd, like the audience for the most part aren't as educated as far as like a lot of people who listen to my music don't have the musical background that I do, of like delving into genres and artists and bands, like really going deep and learning the history of what the stuff that I love. Most people are like, oh, it's top 40, that's just what I'm going to do.
Right.
So anything that sounds like that, they're going to they're like, okay, that's good. That's it. It may not be, but it's made it very easy for people to slide under the radar. Now it's not up to me to say what's popular and what's not. That's obviously, the audience, that's the mass, but that means I don't listen to a lot of current music.
Sure, yeah, neither do I. When people have ever asked me, what kind of music do you like? I've always kind of bristled at the question, and my response, like, sort of snarky, was like, you know what? Like, I consider music like food, and I don't always want to eat fucking Twinkies. I want to fucking change it up, like,
Absolutely, dude.
And then I take it a step further, and I say, I don't even think that people have necessarily musical tastes. They've got more musical associations. And by that I mean you could listen to almost anything, and through repetition, you're gonna develop a relationship with that music. You almost like it's almost like your life experience becomes fused with music, so that when you hear a certain track later on in life, it brings you back to those emotions, those feelings, those times. So like, we become associated with music, and I think you listen to anything enough, you're going to fall in love with it. And that's why the music industry is so successful. It's just ramming shit down your throat, and then that's what you want,
Yeah.
I always say, what genre is audiobooks? Because that's my favorite type of music.
Knowledge.
I guess that'd be spoken word, I guess, right?
Yeah. Now,
sure.
you recorded your first Slipknot album when you were in the band, and that was prior to having a record deal. Is that right?
That was right when we had gotten signed, actually. We recorded in late 98, early 99. The album came out in 99. So I joined in 97. And that's when we really started writing the core of what the first album was and what people would consider like the classic tracks on that album. That's when we wrote Surfacing, we wrote Spit It Out, Wait and Bleed, like all the ones that people really love and associate with that first album really came after I joined the band. It was like this kind of spurt of creativity that just kind of came and really is what got us signed, because now here comes these labels who have passed on the band before. Now they're seeing us a new lineup, a new look, new songs, and they finally go, okay, we get this. This could actually work. And that's when we got signed. We were technically signed to Sony for about 5 seconds until they saw us live and saw how nuts we were. And they killed our deal, dude. Like, they for real killed our deal. Like, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And we thought we were done. But then Ross Robinson said, well, screw it. If nobody else signs you, then I'll sign you to my imprint and I will produce you and put you out regardless.
And is that Roadrunner?
Do it.
The first record deal was with Roadrunner, right?
Well, they are who eventually came in and then signed us for real. But I mean, we had a record deal with Sony that then they pulled on us because they freaked out. They were like terrified of it.
I mean, dude, that makes no sense to me because like in watching YouTube videos about Slipknot, like I was struck by like, you know, one of these like huge outdoor festivals and just the mosh pit with the people bouncing up and down. It was just like, I don't remember seeing footage of a band performing with that much kind of fucking crazy energy, you know, at that scale, you know, and so for Sony to see that and not want to be a part of it, that's just an error.
Yeah.
Are you cool talking about sobriety?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Curious on what your drug of choice was, because I read that you were doing meth at some time.
Well, when I was a kid, I was. When I was a kid, I was a speed freak. I did coke, I did meth, I did all that stuff. But as I quit all that when I was a teenager because I OD'd twice when I was a teenager before I was 16.
Yeah.
I quit all that. I got older. I got more into booze, honestly, because it was just easy, you know, and my personality is such that I never drank to chill. I just drank to just get fucked up, you know? So it was easy to just stay medicated for, you know, especially doing what I do and to just continue that. And I found myself becoming very, very unavailable in my own life, man, you know? And when you're a father, you know, at the time I was married a long time ago, and I just decided, I was just like, man, I got to figure this out, or, you know, this is going to go a direction that I don't want it to go, you know? So it took a long time to kind of figure out who I was and be comfortable with it again, man, you know?
So when you guys were getting fucked up, what was on the Slipknot rider when you guys were just going ape shit?
Oh, dude. I don't even know if this was on the rider, but we just had it at all times. We had at least 9 bottles of Jack at every show. We had Crown Royal, we had Jaeger. There was like some people drank vodka. Guys would have drugs brought, which I never saw because by that time I was just an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there was a lot of crazy shit going on.
And so you guys would go on
I
stage
remember
drunk?
waking up on a pool table, like in a bar, just waking. I'm like in a bar. Like I was like, how the fuck did I get here? I was miles away from the gig. I have no idea to this day on that.
Yeah, but how about the story about you waking up in a fucking trash can or a fucking dumpster? That might have been a kind of sensitive question that I just asked Corey right there, but I'm about to address something really sensitive with you guys because the people from Blue Chew reached out to me about trying their Blue Chew tablets, which contain the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, except theirs are chewable and cost a fraction of the price. And at first I thought, you know what? I don't suffer from erectile dysfunction. I've never really had any problems getting boners, but maybe this will be fun. And so with an open mind, I decided to try it. And let me tell you how simple that was. You just go online to bluechew.com and consult with one of their medical providers. There's no awkward visit to a doctor's office. It all happens right online at bluechew.com. And once you're approved, your Blue Chew tablets show up in a matter of days in the mail. And I'll tell you, when mine showed up, I was kind of excited about it. I told Lux, I said, hey, babe, I'm gonna do the Blue Chew thing. And so I chewed one up, swallowed it, waited for about a half an hour, got in bed with Lex, and I'm gonna tell you, I can report that I had an obnoxiously strong boner. It was a lot of fun. I would dare say a blast. We really did have a blast. And I couldn't wait to do it again, and I did. And it was just as fun the second time. And I really honestly want you to try it because it's that fun. And you're going to get a whole month supply completely for free. All you got to pay is $5 for shipping if you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code Stevo. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. You're going to get a whole month's supply completely for free. You just have to pay the $5 for shipping if you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code Stevo. So with nothing to lose, enjoy yourself with Blue Chew tablets, because I'm telling you, I really, really did. And I'm going to keep using them because it's fun. All right? So now let's talk about being in dumpsters. That was one of your ODs, right?
That was when I was a kid. Yeah, that was after I'd OD'd. Yeah. I think what happened was the last thing I remember is I was at a party. This is when I was living in Waterloo, Iowa. I was at a party, blacked out. We were all just kind of doing, just whatever was there. I think my heart stopped. Something happened, and my friends threw me away.
Like they thought you were dead?
I think that's what happened. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of city that city is anyway. But like when you come to, I was covered in my own blood. I pulled myself out of the dumpster. I had no shoes on. And I was like, because there's that moment where you're like, you don't really remember how you got there. And I had to walk, dude. I was 12 miles away from my house.
Jeez.
I walked all the way back. And as I was walking, I was like, it was starting to kind of come to me. And within a week, I moved out of Waterloo. I moved to live with my grandmother in Des Moines,
and then there you were in Des Moines.
Yeah. Well, wait, did you ever see those guys after that or talk to them about it?
No, I didn't want to see them. Yeah, at that point, I was like, well, if I'm dead to them, they're dead to me.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. But then what about like that little possibility that like there was some perfectly good explanation for why you ended up in the trash can and they didn't throw you away? Maybe
that's a good question, dude. To this day, I was like, I just kind of was just like, you know what? I probably shouldn't ever go back to that life again, Right. And I kind of cut it off. But that's a good question. It never even occurred to me, but maybe there was another
just like a perfectly innocent reason.
I mean, there's not a lot of perfectly innocent or good reasons to end up like. Was it a trash can or a dumpster?
It was a dumpster.
Yeah, dumpster, right.
Yeah, it was a dumpster, yeah.
That puts you right up there with Nicky Six. The same thing happened to him in London in February of 1986.
What happened?
He fucking woke up in a dumpster. He went and fucking scored and fucking OD'd, and they're like, fuck this, dude, the guy's dead. Throw him in the dumpster, same deal.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then he wrote a tune about it called fucking Dancing on Glass.
Dancing on Glass, yeah. It's on the Girls, Girls, Girls album.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck.
I love Motley Crue, man.
And then how long did it take you to get sober till after that point?
Well, he said that was when he was a teenager, and now 11 years ago.
Oh, so you just kept,
2010. Oh shit! So you got sober right after Paul Gray died. Is that right?
I got yeah. Because I had quit drinking and then I started again, and then when Paulie died, it was kind of weird. Like I was drinking to kind of deaden the pain, but then physically it was hurting me, which made it really easy for me to quit, So I quit about a month after he passed.
Man.
And I'm sorry, who's Paul Gray?
He's one of the founding members of Slipknot. Okay. He was a bassist, and by all accounts, the most down-to-earth guy, nicest guy, didn't consider himself a rock star, but ultimately succumbed to substance abuse and died of an overdose.
Man,
what was that last day of using like for you?
was weird, man. Like I was kind of heading that way anyway. And I was on this tour with Stone Sour, and we were at this kind of like after show party, and I'm not a beer drinker, but that's all they had. So I was just kind of like tipping a couple of Becks back. And I woke up the next day and I felt awful. Like just, and I had 2 beers and I had a hangover that felt like I drank 3 bottles of whiskey. And it just, for some reason, that was like the moment where I was just like, you know what? I think this is it. This is it. This is it. I'm not getting anything out of this anymore. Like there's no pleasure in it. There's no party in it. There's nothing that I'm getting from it except pain. I was like, why do I keep doing this? So, and that between that and the fact that I just lost my brother to who he fought it his whole life, man. Like he would go to treatment. He would come out and he would fight with his entire will. And it was just too much. He just kept going back to it, man. But that was it for me. I was just like, I can't do it.
So did it start with you going into treatment, or you just did it on your own?
No, I dry dried it. I dry drunked it. I've always done that. That's how I quit drugs as well. I just, you deal with the DTs for a few days and then that's it. I did the same thing with smoking. I just, there's something in my brain that just goes, you're done. And I quit.
So you did the dry thing for a while, and then were you like, wow, dude, like maybe I should get some support and join the fellowship?
That's crazy. I'm not in the program, but all of my friends are in the program. So when I hang out with my friends, it's almost like I'm in a de facto meeting to begin with. And when we're talking about, so it's weird. And they all have known everything that I'd gone through. They were all friends with all of my friends. And it's almost like being in the program, but not, Like,
right. I mean, my sort of take on it is that, I mean, for me, I just don't even want to experiment with what happens in me trying to stay sober by myself, because I'm a fucking dead duck. But the way that you described having been on, meth and coke, and just put it down, and then like only alcohol, some people can do it, and evidently you're somebody who can pull it. So fucking right on.
It's a weird switch, man. Thank you. I mean, and I still to this day don't know why, but it's also I've experienced that in my life as well, like with relationships with people who were clearly not good for me. Once I kind of figured that out, I'm just like, you're done. And I cut people out, I've never overstayed my welcome with anyone. Well, I can't say there's been one, but I was married to her and that doesn't count. And, but yeah, I mean, it's weird, man. I guess it's a blessing. I wish it would have, kind of kicked in quicker, but at the same time, I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I hadn't gone through what I had, So I never look at anything with regret. I always look at it from the standpoint of I'm going to learn from everything that I've been through, and I'm going to write about it. And if it helps anybody, then so be it.
Fuck yeah. You mentioned Stone Sour, and you got a new album with Stone Sour, is that right?
No, actually, I just put out my first solo album.
Right, okay. You were in Stone Sour before Slipknot.
Yeah.
You did the first 3 albums with Slipknot, and then that was like, okay, we need to take a break from each other. So you went back to Stone Sour at that point. Everybody kind of did side projects.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of it. The reason I put Stone Sour back together was because I was feeling left out of the music writing process. Like I wrote all the lyrics, but when I was doing Stone Sour, I wrote a lot more of the music, and because that music doesn't sound anything like Slipknot, So that was one of the things that I was really good at, was writing that sort of music. With Slipknot, it's so intricate and so different. Of course, it makes more sense that they would write more of the music, but for me, I was there was a part of me that wasn't feeling fulfilled in that side of it, which is one of the reasons why I put Stone Sour back together, was to kind of feel like I was contributing a little more on both fronts, you know? So I kind of juggled both for the last, 15 years.
Right.
Going from Slipknot back to Stone Sour, performing without the mask, was there any sort of like nakedness or anything to like get used to, or was it just like getting back on a bike?
I realized I gained 60 pounds. Like it was
Really, 60?
dude. Oh my God. Yeah. Google fat Corey Taylor, and so many pictures come up from that tour, dude. I was like, well, I mean, and I was at the time I was still drinking. So I kind of had the whiskey bloat going on, but and maybe just because I was drunk all the time, I just thought I was so hot, and I wasn't. I mean, I looked like a mixture between Meatloaf and Jim Morrison. Like, it was a weird,
like fat Jim Morrison,
amalgam, you know. Like, but I thought I was still young Corey and skinny and whatever. So I'm like up on stage, and it's hard to look at. Let's put it that way. But I will say it was fun to kind of go back out and rediscover myself in a weird way, you know, and be like, I could do this without a mask, you know. And that's kind of what made me feel like, okay, the mask is really for Slipknot, you know. But if I'm just kind of playing music, I don't need the mask. I can just be me and go out there and entertain and do whatever. So it helped me kind of feel like I wasn't cutting myself off from the world and just doing things that were Slipknot centric. Does that make sense?
Sure.
When you were in Stone Sour before Slipknot, like that, the band hadn't really like reached like, sort of stardom.
No, it was, I mean, we were just kind of I don't want to say a basic rock band. I mean, we were a lot of fun. Like, a lot of people loved coming and seeing us. It was weird because it was Stone Sour and Slipknot were like the two biggest bands in town. And it was almost like, at the time, I was the best singer in Des Moines, and they were the bigger band in Des Moines, and they wanted that extra tool, that extra bullet in the gun. I'm not really sure.
You're saying Slipknot did?
I'm glad they did. What's that?
You're saying Slipknot did?
Yeah, Slipknot did.
But then, but then you. I saw that you were at Slipknot's very first show in the audience, and you were like, fuck, I'm going to be the singer of this band.
Yeah, and I'd never had that feeling before, dude. I mean, I would have, if they hadn't asked me to join, I would have done Stone Sour till the cows come home. I would have eventually done something that would have gotten the attention of whatever, because we were shopping just like everybody else in Des Moines.
Did Stone Sour?
Man, I watched that first show, and I was right in front, dude. I mean, they came through the audience, scared the hell out of everybody, dude, because they're in full mask. They're in like, they weren't wearing the coveralls yet, but they were just in these crazy outfits. And they opened with, I want to say it was like 3 minutes of just noise and blast beats, and just, I mean, it was like being at a fucking Melvins concert. I was just like, I can't believe it, dude. It was so gnarly. And I just, for some reason, I was so attracted to it and so like drawn in by it. I just was like, I'm going to be the singer in this band someday. And I've never fucking had that thought in a million years for anybody else. And a year later, they asked me. It's crazy, man.
That's killer, man. Did Stone Sour have a record deal before you got in Slipknot?
No. That definitely helped, being in Slipknot.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So
at the same time, we sounded different enough that we were able to, and we wanted to differentiate ourselves right away, you know, which is one of the reasons why we never did any like Slipknot music on stage. We never did anything except our own stuff, you know? And I think as time went by, that helped us kind of become our own band, you know? I mean, we were always going to be in the shadow of Slipknot. Anything I do is going to be in the shadow of that,
sure.
You know? All I can do is try to, you know, get a couple of rays of light to kind of pop here and there. But it's a good problem to have, dude.
Right.
It could be worse.
Definitely.
It could be fucking way worse.
Right. Like 6 a.m., you know?
Right, exactly, man.
Yeah.
Those guys can go and do their thing and it rules. But I mean, it's always going to be in the shadow of Motley. And it's a good problem to have, man. It means that you made your mark in
Right.
music history. And so many people love you for that no matter what, they're going to give you a chance on this other thing, It's really good.
Yeah. Fucking right on.
What's 6 a.m.? Like a cover band of
6
Motley?
a.m. 6 a.m. is Nikki Sixx's
Okay.
other band, yeah.
Talking about Motley Crue, are there other bands what are the other bands you grew up listening to? And is there anything in there that would surprise us or surprise a Slipknot fan?
I heard you
dude,
tell Larry Kings that you would love Sinatra.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean,
And you love jazz.
I'm a jazz guy.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I listen to, it's weird. Ever since I was a kid, I've really just kind of listened to whatever I want. I was never one of these kids that kind of stuck with one genre. I was always the weird kid in every group that I was that listened to everything, I always caught shit from all my friends because of the music that I listened to. So I would listen to Slayer. I'd listen to Cinderella. I would listen to, the Ghetto Boys.
All
I mean,
right.
I was like, I just liked what I liked, man, and I never made any qualms about it. As I got older, I really started to kind of explore more of like the older hardcore stuff. I was always really into like the 70s punk scene. But as I got older, I started kind of going backwards even further and getting into like swing music, jazz, especially what they called bebop, but today would have been the progenitors for experimental jazz, which was, Gillespie, Parker, Coltrane, like all those dudes that really kind of took soloing to a different level. Instead of, playing for the song, you played for the performance, So that kind of drew me into more of the music side of it. But then Sinatra, man, I mean, a song's a song, right? I mean, but when Sinatra sings it, it's totally different. What got me into Sinatra was his cover of, what is it? Something, which is the Beatles song, something in the way she moves. He did a cover of that, and it tripped me out hard because he never liked rock and roll, but he loved that song, and I just loved the way that he took it and really just kind of made it his own, and that made me go back and listen to everything that he ever did. And I just, to this day, it's just, he's phenomenal.
Is that hat you're wearing a Sinatra style hat?
No, I started wearing fedoras when I was a kid because of Freddy Krueger.
Oh, I love it, dude. Thank God.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of bands, they have their heyday, and then they're like, it just sort of, they're around, but it's not their heyday. And the thing is that with Slipknot, you guys were burst on the scene like 2001, like 2003. You're fucking completely like on fire, taking over. But then you just had in 2019 like the biggest fucking year ever, right? Like, I mean, so was there an early heyday and then like a rebirth? Were you guys just fucking huge the whole time? But how did 2019 shape up to be such a huge year for you guys?
It's really weird, man, because every time we put an album out, all of these people try to write us off. It's like, oh, it's this year, and people still pretend to care about Slipknot and all this shit. And yet our last 3 albums debuted at #1.
Wow, so it's not just 2019. Like, you guys have just been killing it the whole time.
Yeah, so I think it's because we go away for a while and then we come back, like we're not one of those bands that overstays its welcome. We come out and we go gangbusters for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then we split and we let people miss us, man. We remind people of why they loved listening to us in the first place. And with every album, we try to give people something different. We give them the Slipknot stuff that, you know, that they expect, but we also whip some different stuff on them. You know, we're constantly trying to push the boundaries of where we go, music wise. And I think because of that, people have gotten to the point where they never know what to expect with our album. They know they're going to get new masks. They know they're going to get new outfits. They're going to get new art, but they never know musically where we're going to go, which is rad, man. So it's kind of cool, you know? I mean, it's been 22 years since our first album, and people are like freaking out because I mentioned in an interview that we were working on new music and the world went ape shit.
Yeah.
Which is so it's everything you want to hope for when you're a fucking idiot like me, you know? Like, it's just like we just get to do it all. And I can't be happier for the fan base that we have, for the opportunities that we've had, for the luck that we've had. Obviously, we've had some rough times, but you know, I mean, we're still here, man, and that's got to say something.
Fuck yeah. What's the process of coming up with a new mask look like? Do you have like a special effects guy that like?
Sometimes, man. I mean, sometimes we have like a vision in our head. Like Clown is really good at it because he's an artist. So he'll kind of go somewhere gnarly and be like, okay, I've got this image, and then we'll have outside people kind of help us create it. But then there's sometimes where you're just like, you know what? I don't have a real vision, but I have an idea, and you talk through it with, like a visual arts guy, or like a visual effects guy, and they will create it for you. And then you look at it and you go, I like this, change this, and blah 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 blah, and you whittle it down until you get to something that's really rad. My new mask is gonna fucking scare kids. Like, it's so gnarly, dude. It's really uncomfortable. It freaked my wife out. She won't look at it, and
wow.
She loves crazy shit like that. She's just like, that's really bothering me. You put that picture away. And I'm like, yeah, this one. And she just couldn't handle it.
That's how you know that's the one.
That's not the process that you went through with the when they had to go through the cover your nose holes.
Right. I mean, for like prosthetics, like when they turned us all into old men for Jackass, you go and you make like a plaster cast mold of your head.
It's not like that.
You've been molded. You know the feeling.
So you get molded every time you do a new one?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Because you were ready to freak out with claustrophobia. I couldn't do it. There's no way.
It's a claustrophobic fucking thing, dude.
Oh, dude, I fall asleep. I told you, there's something wrong with me. But I mean, it's like, for real. Like, I've seriously fallen asleep before, where I'm just, they have to kind of give me a nudge, because if I go down like that, I'm going to ruin the mold.
Because when they took it off Steve, he was like, I almost lost it in there, dude. Like 2 more minutes, it's
tough, man. Especially the first time when we did it for Jackass the movie. My nose was all blocked up with cocaine. All you can breathe through is your fucking nose. I could barely breathe through it because there was so much fucking blow in there. I was fucking like not okay.
Wow.
I guess I'm glad that I waited,
Yeah, wow. So
after I stopped doing blow.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, people don't realize how much you go through just to get that mask. They think it's just a mask that you go on, but it's a process.
Pretty much so, yeah. I know.
And completely changing the look, that had to have been fucking scary, man. Like, where you're like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna trash this look that was the first one, the one that had all the dreads and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you come back with no.
Well, with the first my mask, the first 2 albums were very similar. Like the Iowa mask was essentially the same kind of vibe, but I had changed the aesthetic a little bit. Still had the dreads. It was the original dreads. So I kept those. But then we got to volume 3, and I just went, man, you know what? I want to change this up. And some of the guys in the band had changed theirs completely on Iowa. And I was just like, well, if they can get away with it, I'm gonna try something different. I did what we called the football mask, because it was kind of cut like this, and then it had
Yeah, the bars. The quiet riot sticks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And once that worked, I knew that I could go and do whatever, once you get past that first initial risk, I just knew in my heart that I needed to. Once you get past that, man, that's fucking sky's the limit. You just go run with it,
Dude, that's crazy. So what was the motivation to do a solo album?
I've been trying, I've been honestly talking about doing it for a long time, but it just didn't make any sense because I had two great bands. I had opportunities to kind of do, guest spots with a million different people. So I was just like, you know what? it just doesn't make any sense to do a solo album right now because I basically get to do any type of music I want. So right now it just doesn't make any sense. The reason I did it now was because I was putting Stone Sour kind of on hiatus anyway, because I wanted to do something even more different. And the whole reason I did the solo album is because I had all of these songs that I had written that didn't work with either band, and I had tried to actually give these songs to other people and they just didn't vibe with it or they didn't want it or whatever. And I just said, man, these are fucking great songs. I'm just going to put it out myself,
Did you put it out yourself or did you do it with Warner?
It's still on Roadrunner.
Oh shit.
But the artist name is Corey Taylor.
Yeah, Roadrunner. We're still signed to Roadrunner. So everything I do is on Roadrunner.
And Roadrunner's Roadrunner's under the Warner umbrella?
Yeah. They were bought by Atlantic, and then Atlantic is owned by Warner. So it's all kind of
Because I just noticed that like every single music video that you have on YouTube for Slipknot has a gigantic Warner logo on there, which is Which is weird because technically we're not a Warner band. We're a Roadrunner band. Right.
Warner, they just happen to own us. It's really sad what happened to Roadrunner, man. Like they were the biggest metal label on the planet for the longest time. And it seemed like the powers that be they were independent. Like they weren't owned by anybody.
They were like alternative tentacles. Right?
Basically, yeah. But they were massive. They were massive worldwide. They had offices in every country. They had the biggest bands in metal. And with one fell swoop, they sold all the rights. They became owned by a certain label. And within 3 years, that label fired everyone who had been working there for 20 years. Jeez. They fired almost everyone, down to the point where they had to close all of the offices in like all of these countries. I mean, it was crazy, dude. These were people I'd worked with my entire career.
Right, but that's what happens when you sell the fucking company.
Exactly. I know. Trust me, we all sat around going, "Fuck, man, this is the end of an era."
Right. I mean, they sell the company, so that's like, what do you do when you buy something? You do whatever the fuck you want with it, so that's understandable. And as far as closing down all the offices around the world, like, they're probably looking at it, consolidating probably made financial sense, like, let's not pay rent.
If you look at the impact that Roadrunner Records had
no doubt.
on metal, it's insane. So to go from that high to then boom, I mean, it shocked all of us. Like we were just like, whoa, dude.
Right.
And I was making a Stone Sour album and like everyone I was working with just got wiped out. And I was just went,
wow. I mean,
we didn't have anybody to work with. What the fuck just happened? Like it's crazy.
So I wonder what they need to sell for. What was going on, like.
Right.
Sounds like they
Probably
didn't.
Just a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Corey, what'd you do with your first major paycheck that came in? I love knowing that, like you get your first paycheck and you're like, fuck, what do you spend it on?
You know what I bought? I went at the first time I really spent a shit ton of money on myself. This is so sad. This tells you how white trash I am. Right? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I walked into a Best Buy. And I bought $10,000 worth of DVDs. This is no shit. I still have them.
What?
They couldn't even print me out a receipt. They had to get me a computer printout of everything that I bought.
What, like
It
movies?
was so fucking low rent, dude. It was so. I was walking around. I had 5 fucking shopping carts, and all of my friends. Boy, I knew they were like, "You want this one?" I was like, "Throw it in." I don't give a shit. It was so.
I love
fucking
that, dude.
You're like the original Netflix. You had everything.
I went on very similar.
What would you do?
Oh, I did the same fucking thing, except more like with music CDs. You know,
Right.
I would, but I don't remember that being like the first thing. You've never asked me this, I don't think. And you're the first thing, the big expensive thing that I bought. I just think I don't remember it. I like
Bought a big fridge and a lot of booze.
I mean, I would go on some crazy grocery. Once I had an apartment.
But okay, you get your first, not Jackass 1, but like maybe where you made the most, and you're like, fuck, dude.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I ended up buying a Rolex in 2003.
A Rolex?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's kind of embarrassing. Like,
No, that's cool.
I mean, whenever I had a Rolex, I ended up losing it in a PCP blackout. I literally blacked out on PCP. I have no idea. For all I know, I gave it away. No idea.
Right.
Yeah.
If anybody listening has Steve's first Rolex, maybe he'll sign it or something.
I think somebody knows what the fuck happened to it. Dude.
Somebody out there knows.
I think I know.
You think you know?
I suspect. I suspect that I know. But in any case, so you got the new solo album.
Yeah.
And are you going out on tour behind the solo album?
Yeah, actually, I think we were the first to announce an actual practical social distancing tour.
Wow, okay.
We're actually going to do. It starts in May. Starts May 18th or 17th. I can't remember. We added a date. And it runs till mid or end of June. And all but 5 of the shows have sold out already.
I bet that while when come June, I bet that they start putting more tickets on sale because, like
they might. I mean, we got it down. We sectioned it off so it's like it's only 10 to 25% capacity. Everything is social distanced. It's you can buy tickets in pods. And anybody in that pod, you can stay in that pod, you can take your masks off, but outside of that pod, you have to leave your mask on. And that's regardless of whatever state guidelines are going off of. We're going off of the actual CDC guidelines.
Dude, it's so fucking funny. Like the coronavirus, you have to wear a mask, and we're talking to the fucking front man of Slipknot.
Yeah.
I remember when wearing a mask wasn't cool.
Right.
Right.
Well, how many people is that? What are you guys doing? Arenas? What are you guys doing?
No, we're doing like bigger theaters. There's a handful of like outdoor amphitheaters that are kind of like, which is a little easier to do. So I know there's a handful of them that are over 1,000, but that's scaled in a place that would hold 5. So it's like, I mean, it's still, to me, it's still a gig, man. I played a charity gig last year for 12 people, and it was one of the best fucking nights of my life. And
Wow.
they were sitting so far away from each other.
I love
it. Was fucking weird, dude. I was just like, what the fuck are we doing here? It was but I was so stoked to be in front of an audience that I didn't care, man. And that right there was like, that told me that it wasn't about the amount of people, it was about the experience itself, And that's
Sure.
one of the reasons why I did this. I know a lot of people have been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because they want to play for the maximum amount of people because they want to get paid the maximum amount of money. But I was like, fuck that, man. Like, I'm basically breaking even with this. And I don't care. Like, I want to fucking play these shows because I want to have a good time,
Right.
And who I've got, my wife's dance troupe is going to open the thing and fucking blow fire and fucking aerial, and it's crazy shit.
Cool.
So we're just bringing a fucking big rock and roll party to every city,
How many cities are you doing?
May through June, so
30.
So I think it's like 25 cities, because a lot of the places we're doing multiple nights.
Right. Okay.
Killer. Is there with like Slipknot has these legendary live shows? Is there a country that just goes the hardest?
Dude, we have so many. We bring out the crazy shit in everybody, dude. Like, for real, like one of the places that people kind of warned us about is like, you know, you're gonna be put off by their you know the solemn quiet and politeness was Japan. And dude, they chased us down the street like we were the fucking Beatles. Like,
Wow.
for real.
Wow.
I mean, they jumped the first night we played, dude. The place was ape shit, and we left. We couldn't even stop to take our stuff off. We just ran right down and got in this big cargo van. Right, the fans ran out the front, came right around the club, and jumped on the van, and they were shaking it like this, and we were all like, "This is it. This is how we die right here. This is insane. We're dying in Japan." And it was, but then they finally let us go. And we all sat there, and it was that weird, awkward, like, that was kind of rad, but we almost died moment. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
it was,
Dude.
and to this day, man, we go there and they absolutely give it up. I mean,
Wow.
it's crazy.
So, we don't need to promote the solo tour because it's already sold out, all but 5 shows. And if you want to figure out which of those 5 shows aren't sold out, or maybe if you're holding out hope that the world's going to open up enough that more tickets go on sale, where do people go to buy the tickets to your tour?
You can go to my website, thecoreytaylor.com. There are links all over there. You can also go to notfest.com, which is my management has links up there as well. If you know where any of the gigs are, you can probably go to those venues' websites and access for tickets and whatnot. It's I mean, it's.
I think there's a good chance that they're gonna put more on sale. I
hope so, man. I mean, I'm getting my vax. I'm getting my vax next week, and they just opened it up in Nevada where anyone 16 and up can get a vax. And we were kind of waiting on that.
I might go for a road trip.
I didn't want to, show up to one of these places and be like, "Hey, could I get something?" And they're like, "Corey Taylor bunches his way in line and shoves an old lady out of the way."
100%. Shoves an old lady out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, it'd be worth it to do a road trip to Las Vegas.
You're in Nevada?
Yeah, I live in Vegas actually.
Oh, how about that, dude?
Rad.
Fucking cool, man. I was just thinking, man, I wonder why we didn't ask where he's at. Now, you also said that when I was on social media, so you've just given up social media?
I got people who run my shit for me, but I, much like booze and all that shit, I was really, really into it. And
dude, I talked to Nick Nicotine today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, dude, like I'm helplessly addicted to the validation of fucking like just ridiculously monitoring the performance of my social media posts. And he's just like, he's just laughing. And he said,
He's like, me too.
well, no, he's good about it. But he said, like it does fall under like your career, to like see what works and what doesn't work. So you do need to check it. But this is maybe like an hour after the first hour is very telling. You want to check once after an hour, and then you want to check once on the second day and once on the third day. And after 3 days, it's run its course. And I said, dude, that suggestion, man, that's like fucking okay. Quit sugar.
Wow.
It's terrifying, But
dude, yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. I got off of it 10 months ago. I deactivated my account just because it was just too much. And then I got a thing saying, oh, my password was compromised, and I logged back on. And I to change my password, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even want to go back on, I'm thinking about just deleting the whole thing because it doesn't make sense for me. I mean, I think for you guys, like, you can promote your tour, you can do this, but every cool photo that I've taken, I've sent to like my family or my bros anyway. I don't need random people.
dude, I don't want to fucking keep Corey forever, but I'd like speaking about books. right? Like, are you a New York Times bestselling author multiple times over?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've written 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, I'm lucked into a lot of shit. I'm pretty stoked about a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do because of Slipknot, because of my career. So I've written 4 books. The last one wiped me out though, like because it was all about politics, and it was right when Trump won.
Wow.
And I mean, it was nightmarish how exhausting that process was. And I just said, and I haven't written another one since,
But you
but
know
I'm
what's
starting to
exhausting
get
now?
sick.
What's exhausting now is
What's
fucking.
that?
What's exhausting? Sorry, I just rudely interrupted. But I said, you know what's exhausting now is trying to watch Saturday Night
Yeah.
Live that Trump's out of office.
It's
They
not
got
entertaining
nothing.
anymore.
They got
Right.
nothing.
Right.
Like all the ratings for
What are you
news are
talking
just.
about?
Yeah, I mean, fuck, dude. Like, it really is like noticeably like fucking. We're sorely missing Donald Trump on
Is he
Saturday
still off
Night Live.
Twitter?
Dude, he's banned for life,
For
forever.
everything.
But now one of the other 4, another one of your 4 books was just
Oh, okay. The
strict.
first one I did, the first one I wrote was about the 7 deadly sins, and how, to me, those aren't sins. They're human traits. They're
Okay,
just things that we just all experience, and there are bigger and worse things that could be looked at as sins. So it's just, honestly, it's just a way for me to kind of dissertate, and then kind of go up on tangents and tell stories about all the weird shit that I've done in my life. The second one was about the
yeah,
supernatural.
that's what I was going to ask about the
Yeah,
spirits.
yeah, man, yeah. I'm just, it's just something that I've had experiences with my whole life, and not being a religious person or
And
somebody who,
specifically atheist, right?
right, very much so. It was me trying to figure out something to explain it, because everybody's explanations never made any fucking sense to me. So that was me trying to work out in my own head what this phenomena was, and then just kind of, and doing that has helped me in a lot of really, cool ways. Like I don't really get freaked out by the stuff anymore. I just kind of, process it. You deal with it. It's foreign because it's so weird, and it's frightening because it's so weird. But once you get to the point you've wrapped your head around what it is, you can process it and you can deal with it. And
Yeah.
then the third is just me bitching because I'm an old man and I don't understand the world around
Dude,
me.
it's so great, dude. I'm working on my second book right now, and
Oh, nice.
it's my personal take on middle age, and
Oh God, right. Okay.
yeah,
So
like fucking
I
sort
get
of
it.
life lessons, and how to sort of help other people prepare for and make it through middle age.
Yeah,
Self-help
man.
author.
I mean, it's sort of. It's a fucking crazy
That's
book.
cool,
That's all.
dude.
So did you do your own audiobooks? Did you?
Yeah. And it's
Got
a
it.
fucking boring process. Like the worst, it's the one thing that I would never ever want to do. And it was my own idea. And I cursed myself to this fucking day about it. Like, it's just like wiping my ass with 4 days of my life, 5 hours at a time.
Yeah. No, is there a particular way that you'd like to promote the books? Like for me, if you buy my books from stevo.com, every copy is hand signed. Like I autograph. So that's my way of kind of selling my own books.
Yeah, no, you know what? I just kind of, go find it and buy it where you can, like, bitch that they don't have any Corey Taylor books in the airports, and
Right.
they'll stock in them, because that was how I knew I made it. I found one book in an airport and I went, there it is! I got it! That was my thing.
Des Moines Airport. Somebody
did.
just left it there.
I love it.
Somebody left it there.
Do you have a preferred way that people can consume the music from your 3 bands?
I mean, obviously, I'm going to say, the old school way, buy the album, look at the artwork, read the lyrics, kind of do whatever. But I'm also, an antiquated.
Realistic.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard because in this day and age, it's really hard to know which which ones of the fucking streaming services actually compensate the artists that they're ripping off. So
right.
there you go. You know?
There's that. I mean, I suppose
like,
the label people would probably know.
It's more important for me to people listen to the music.
Right.
You know, like at this point, I've kind of made peace with the fact that various services were just kind of screwing us. And until the legislation is actually enforced, which they passed under Trump, which I couldn't fucking believe, they'll keep charging us at that rate. But they've appealed that legislation. I don't think the appeals will actually go through. They will raise the rates, and musicians will be able to make a living off their recordings again.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Not to be a fucking dour asshole.
Oh,
on
no,
that.
it's all good.
No, not at all.
It's okay, Lars.
That dude, I remember everyone giving him so much shit because of that, and he was so right.
Yeah,
on
for sure.
so many fucking levels, dude. It's scary, and I wonder how many people like look back and eat a little crow because of that. Weird.
Yeah, I think he was pretty unapologetic about it the whole time, and I don't think
he knew that this was the direction we were going, man. So
right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can get the word out about for you?
I'm not sure, man. Just everybody just use common sense, and in the world right now, yeah, everybody's excited because they're rolling out the vaccination, and numbers are going up every day, which is rad. But we're also seeing spikes in infections and in COVID diagnosis, and it should be noted that there is a certain grace period after you get vaccinated, that you're still kind of open
right
to the variants and whatnot. So everybody just be careful, man. Wear a mask. This is coming from a dude who made his fucking bones on it. Wear a mask. Be smart. Don't give a shit about politics, left, right, whatever. Be smart about it.
Man, what a good guy. I asked him, is there anything you want to promote? And he's promoting
Health and safety for the environment.
Hell yeah,
real.
promoting
Yeah,
like
amazing.
saving lives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, what do you want to sell?
Having said that, wear a mask when you come see me on, from
Yeah, there you go.
I love it, man. Well, fucking hey, dude, it's been a real treat, dude. And I super appreciate you, and I can't wait for. I think this one's gonna do real well, man.
Yeah, this was really cool to get to talk to you, dude.
Yeah.
Right on, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad I could do it.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, man. Well, we'll sign off here, dude, and fucking you have a good one.
All right, guys. Ride wild, man. All right.
All right. Did I tell you? Was that rock and roll or what? Man, such a good time. And for those of you who stick around to the very end, it's always just a real sense of gratitude that I have for you. And I want to tell you something, especially because at the end of the Mark Cuban podcast a couple weeks ago, on the YouTube version, of course, you could see me trying to do some kickflips here in our editing bay. And I saw some comments about people saying, man, you should hang it up. Stop skateboarding because you're really struggling with it. And I just thought, man, you know what? I'm not going to hang up shit because I love skateboarding, and I'm going to continue to push harder. I mean, now in my 40s, I got to work a lot harder. But, dude, come on. I'm not fucking stopping. And just yesterday, look what I was up to at the barracks. For those of you watching, man, it's a serious fucking wall ride, dude. And the video that I'm making to launch my new pro model skateboard, like properly, fuck, it's badass. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek right there because it's a big deal. I love you dudes. Thanks so much. Yeah.